Hey guys, Professor Bill at Comic Book University and Batman, Wonder Woman, Brave and the Bold, issue number 3 of 6. So, this comic book shows, God, it's if you're not playing an RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, you might not appreciate everything that this comic book is actually doing for the rest of us, man. Like this is a mission, this is a campaign in and of itself, and just take what's here and spread it out as far as you want and put as much as you want in between. There is so little action in this comic book, and I feel like the less the better. You know what I'm saying? I've never been one to really care about seeing heroes fighting villains or heroes fighting other heroes. None of the actual battle scenes they make for beautiful art. But we've got plenty of beautiful art in here, just seeing Bruce Wayne sleeping in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And all the little things that happen in between. He and Wonder Woman, they both go out. If you remember, Bruce was actually asked to come out here because he was kind of sucked into here because he's a detective. The thing is, Bruce isn't stupid. It's not just the idea that he's a detective. He knows his strengths, but he also knows his weaknesses. And he's like, nothing here is like back home. I like to use science. I like to use logic. And the science of this place is so radically different than back home that I can't just do this. I might not be able to do this. I have to get the science of this place first. And it's funny, he mentions how he had an Irish nanny when he was a kid, so he learned that a river stone that has a naturally formed hole in between it. So the hole's, just a hole and the rock formation all around it. You can look through it, and it's like a spyglass to see invisible creatures. So he sees these Fomorians who are staring at them and watching them, and Wonder Woman apparently had no idea that this was even the case. And Batman's like, oh no, I see you guys. Poke through and try and poke him in the eye or something. But they reveal themselves now, so they don't need the stone anymore. I hope Batman decided to keep that in his utility belt, because that could come in handy, man. But just have it installed in his in his little visor. But anyway, it's cool because he kind of goads them into a fight to see when their breaking point is. So he was able to learn a little bit more. This is a science that doesn't require the understanding of the nature of this environment, Ternanog, that they're actually in. This is just basic human psychology, or Fomorian psychology in this case, and to see like when they would actually get mad. You insult somebody, you throw a bunch of insults at somebody, it doesn't phase them, but then one thing, all of a sudden, like they snap, or and even if it's just like a twitch of the eye, or they like look at you at one point, what's actually going to be able to really get them. So where the hole in their logic is, where the flaw in their stance is, where their sense of guilt lies, something. You know what I'm saying? So what's actually going to trigger the individual. And that's what Batman had to do here. So there's a quick little bit of action, and it was cool. It's funny seeing Wonder Woman saying, these guys are much stronger than they look. Meanwhile, she's literally manhandling two of them. She's Fomorian handling two of them. It's hysterical. It's great. Everything about this book, man, everything from the art to the words used to the dialogue. I'm gonna take this. Oh shoot, who is the oh, for crying out loud, where's the credits on this one? Crap, they got it like all the way in the back or something like that as usual. Oh man, I can't find them. Anyway, the letterer for this comic book. I'm wondering who the letterer is, because the letterer did a fantastic job in this. Okay, seriously, like it's a comic book. Put the stuff all up front so I can actually find it. Come on, stop being a butt nugget. Anyway, the letterer of this comic book deserves some credit also, because a lot of times the way that the first off, just a grade while I'm looking at this, I'm giving this an A-. Fantastic book, absolutely gorgeous. Nope, they're not going to give me who the letterer is, are they? You bunch of butt nuggets. That's just unacceptable. Anyway, so usually the way that a letterer will work, while back in the day they were an actual calligrapher, today there's somebody who just uses the computer to get the lettering done. So you can use multiple different fonts, and of course you really have to be careful about the legality there, because a font can be copyrighted. Meanwhile, and a logo, like the chest symbol for the superheroes, can be copywritten, while many other things about a character can't be. You know what I'm saying? So so you have to be careful of that regardless. But they'll usually boldface certain words, not for the flow of the sentence, like this is a word that should be italicized. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I'm going to, we do this in the basis of the English language, of all languages. We'll enunciate certain words, I have to run home. You know what I'm saying? You're emphasizing where you have to be. The important part of your sentence is home. What about home? I have to be home. You know what I'm saying? Get out, right? Not just get out like that. We emphasize certain words. So the bold-faced words in the comic books are not necessarily meant to enunciate a word, while sometimes they will. They're meant to keep the flow of the read working, and that's more about the placement of the bold. They'll usually try to do one or two in each sentence. That's you embolden certain words to keep the flow going, but it's not necessarily about where you're emphasizing it. I've noticed in this book it is a lot more about how you're going to emphasize a word. So these bold-faced words should have actually been italicized. That's where the stress is, and that's just a very interesting part that I noticed in this. So whoever it is, apparently nobody wanted to give credit to this person. What do you call it? Whoever it is that actually did the lettering in this, absolutely bravo, stupendous job. Like, I know whoever's, like Liam Sharp, who's doing the writing, and Fajardo Jr., who did the colors. I believe that he just did the colors on this. But just every single aspect of the comic book. Guys, like, I don't know if you really get just how incredible this comic really is, like to the point where I'm commenting on the lettering. Just look at the logo, look at the title logo on this. Every single thing about this comic book is pure art, and that's amazing. And I'm like really sick right now, so recognizing something like that is just it's like lifting my spirits. This is one of the most beautiful. There are going to be people who aren't going to get the story. I get it, and it's not your fault. But man, this is one of those things I genuinely feel right now like I'm one of those guys that forget about today looking at Vincent van Gogh's work. You know what I'm saying? Today we can look at Vincent van Gogh's work and of course it's, the best out there and blah, 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 blah. Imagine being alive during his time and watching him paint this stuff and realizing genius in the making. So you're not time traveling. No, you're somebody who lived during that time, and you think everything that's beautiful must have come from the past, a lot like what we do today. No, I'm seeing this comic book come out month after month, and I'm seeing the work of Leonardo da Vinci. I'm seeing the work of Pablo Picasso. I'm seeing the work of all these amazing artists being written as they're being written. And to me, it feels like a personal accomplishment that I can actually see this, you know what I'm saying, as it's happening today. Because I can promise you, there is going to be a time in comic book that comic book historians in the future will look back on this and say this was so far ahead of its time, while at the same time, a long time coming. So that's the best compliment I could possibly give to this comic book. Everyone should have this comic book in their collection, but since they don't, it's just going to mean that much more to those of us who do. All right, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.